For someone who's trying to transition into data, I would say seek help, get mentors. That's the best way, especially for someone, coming from real world. We know better and we can guide you better. So just seek help.
I am Priya from It's OKR, and I can't believe, but this is the final episode of How I Am Building This, where we cover the journeys of South Asian entrepreneurs from different backgrounds. Today, we are so excited to have Lekhna. But for everyone who's new today, It's OKR is a content platform for South Asian immigrants, and we aim to educate, entertain, and empower them. So, without further ado, Lekhna, tell us about storytelling by data. How did it get started? What motivated you to also start this outside of like the job that you guys are doing?
Sure, yeah. So storytelling by data actually started off just by sharing. I did my master's in data analytics, and that's when actually storytelling by data started. So it started in the form of just blogs, and many people started asking me, because I come from a non-traditional background, background from MBA and then into technical field.
Oh,
So many of them are asking, how do I get into a technical field from a non-tech background? And especially data being, like the really hot thing right now. Everyone was like, how do I start? Where do I start? And things like that. And that's how storytelling by data was actually born. And yeah, I just started sharing and started mentoring, started coaching people.
how did you decide? Like, was it your true love for data and storytelling is why it all came together? Or was it more around the fact that, hey, we are already having good full-time jobs and I want to make sure that I want to do something else? Like, what was the motivation? Because I know you do it with Raj. What is that journey like?
Yeah, so actually, it all started with the storytelling aspect of data, because I remember, like, way back, probably in my fifth grade, I used to love storytelling. So that was always there with me, and I think data kind of enhanced the storytelling part, especially being in as a BI analyst and a data analyst. All those aspects of storytelling, I used it at my job, and that's when I fell in love with data. I was like, okay, I really love working in data, so why not just combine both and start this? Yeah.
Like when you were building it, were there certain things that you found very challenging to get started with?
Mm-hmm. Yes, some of the challenges, definitely being a full-time employee and just working on the startup part-time is really hard. That is the biggest challenge. And for me, I got really lucky. My husband joined along with me and took a little bit of the burden, but obviously it has its own perks, that you have your husband along with you, but still there's a lot more things to be done. So yeah.
No, totally hear you because our journey is kind of similar to me and my husband. We do it together and we have different styles of working. We have different POVs. Tell us a little bit about that. Like I don't have a lot of people who I can talk about this, but tell us what is that biggest thing that you're super thrilled about with him being on board and what is the biggest challenge that you face?
Oh yes. So actually, yeah, the way I work and the way my husband works is completely different, and
Say.
it's and it's like it's too hard to kind of get on the same page sometimes, but we kind of make it work, because for him it's more like he needs more planning and all that organizing, and he spends a lot more time on planning. I'm more of a person who like just act. So
Just do it. Yeah, I think it's very similar for us. Very, very similar. Like he has a very thought out approach and a plan
yeah.
versus yeah, that's so good to hear.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I'm like, just so I just give him all the planning part. Like, just do the planning, just give it to me. I'll start doing it. So it's
okay.
that kind of coordination is working pretty well.
Yeah, like I think that you need that because someone can be a little more long term and strategic, and then you need someone to like actually get things done, which
Yeah.
complements, I feel, perfectly. What was the biggest success moment for you, like the first one that you remember and you were like, oh, I love doing this?
I still remember it. We released this free data career roadmap.
Okay.
And initially, obviously, it was like I had to put in a lot of work because I probably worked on that roadmap for about a month, and then it was out. And when it was out, we had over around 3,500 people just download the entire roadmap. And the feedback that I received, that was the best part. Like, so many of them said it just gave them so much clarity on the roadmap, on their career in data especially. And that feedback was the best thing.
So, Lekhna, for people who don't know a lot, like help them understand what are the different things that are available with storytelling by data and how do they get started. Like there is one aspect of joining the community and following your page, but what else is it that they can get access to?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. So storytelling by data, we do a lot of coaching and mentoring. So you can go to the link in my bio where you can schedule a call. We will help you out because there are so many people who are like, especially in your initial stages of trying to transition to data, you're so confused. So I always advise you to just get someone's help to
Okay.
understand what exactly data analyst, data scientist, and all these different job profiles
Me.
work. Yes, that is super important. So that is one aspect of it. And then the other one, we recently released a course, basically targeting for people who are transitioning into data. And
Okay.
so this course is like you can take it and do it at your own pace, and we will also be helping you. So that's the other aspect. And there are more things which we are still working on.
Yeah, no, that is super interesting because I noticed there is a lot of different kind of ways that people can engage with you. And just like for my knowledge and for our followers' knowledge, are you also doing some sort of like coaching to help people get jobs in data analytics, or is that something or is it more about the fact that I'll help you build that foundation and then that will help you get a job? Like where does that sit?
So it is both. It is
Okay.
right from transitioning till the job. Both
Job.
of
Oh, okay. That is
Yeah.
super interesting. Okay. What are you thinking like long term for storytelling by data? What do you want it to be? What's the vision?
So currently we are looking at storytelling by data as something for more of like a mentorship,
Okay.
especially what we found that is there's a lack of understanding of the real world, especially when it comes to data science and data analytics. There's a lot people don't understand really. Only when you start doing that job is when you realize it. So that there's that whole shift that needs to be done. So we're looking at it in terms of more of a mentoring platform.
Mentor.
Yeah.
Okay, that's super interesting. But like, I'm just curious, like, now, was there a time where you were like, this is like very difficult. I don't want to do it. Would you want to give up? As like, I have a job, everything is working out. Like, why should I
Yeah.
do this? Did you reach that point ever?
Yes. Yeah. So I probably once when I was like super frustrated, I'm like, why am I even doing this? Like, especially sometimes. So this is something, especially on Instagram, even on like some of the comments that you receive,
Yeah,
uh, it's really
very
annoying.
hateful. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is when I was like, why the hell am I doing this? So yeah. So yeah, I
The
kind of feel that, but then at the end of the day, I'm like, I just forget about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're doing it all right, and it doesn't matter what five people say. I feel like it will happen. I feel like
Yeah.
there is no escaping from it, and either you let you pull it down, or just like move on. So I'm
Mhm.
glad you stayed, which is good. Now, just a lighter segment, which I have named with it's called Chai or Coffee with Priya. Total
Mhm.
inspiration from Coffee with Karan, as you can see, though I'm no Karan Johar. But this is going to be like this or that. So, a couple of fun things. The first one, of course, has to be chai or coffee. Which way do you lean?
Coffee, of course.
Coffee.
If you've seen my stories, like it's like
Yes.
literally filled with coffees.
Filled with coffee. Yes, for sure. The second one is dhania or no dhania?
Dhania.
Dhania. Okay. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Nay.
Okay. Okay, good. We are, oh, I love people who are on name with that because that's a
Uh,
mixed one. Books or movies?
so surprisingly enough, I usually sleep in movies, but
Hmm.
it's not surprising. But yeah, that's when I say some of my friends that I usually sleep in movies, they'll be like, "Why? What kind of person are you?" So it's books for me.
Lekhna, how long have you been in the US and what was your biggest cultural shock?
Yeah, so I have been in US for almost 7 years now.
Hmm.
The first cultural shock was, I mean, it's like in the US, you're so independent, and I think that was a shock in itself. And like you don't have anyone else to depend on, and obviously there are like these small things where like usually if you go to, so I think I remember it was one of my friend's birthday, like an American friend's birthday. This was the first during my masters, and a couple of friends got together, and they wanted to throw like a birthday party. And the biggest shock for me was like you have to pay for the during the birthday, and not the birthday girl or guy who has to pay. So that was a shock. Like I'm like, oh, why should we pay?
We pay.
Yeah.
That's definitely a tricky one. It was
Yeah.
new to us also when we came across it, but
Mhm.
well, it's good. Like it's a great way to do it. I wish we do that more. Um, okay, and then I need to talk we need to talk about food. So tell us your favorite food or your comfort food.
My favorite is chole bhature.
Okay.
That
Oh
that
yes, love a good chole bhature. Okay.
yeah, yeah. That's
And
like my
you're in
go-to.
Texas, right?
Yes.
Yes, how is the Indian food situation there? Is
Oh
it you
yeah.
get your good chole bhature there?
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh, but it's great. Like
Okay.
I used to live in Pittsburgh, where
Okay.
we didn't have that many good
Yeah.
restaurants and stuff. When I moved to Dallas, like it's heaven. It's like it's a food heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard like the Indian food culture in Texas is really, really good. Um, okay, this is our last couple of questions. Like you are doing so much, like now, how do you unwind? Like, what is the one thing that helps you disconnect?
I love like self care, just getting myself pampered with some good massage, and that's how I unwind. So that's like something that I do, like give myself that time, monthly once. That's like compulsory for me. Otherwise, it's because there's a lot of things going on. So that's my best way of unwinding.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like now, like just any tips for people who are, I'm going to ask two of these for you. Tips for people who are looking to start their side business or hustle. And the second one is tips for people who want to transition into data analytics as a career.
Mhm. Yeah, so for someone who wants to start a business, I would say the first thing, don't wait. I think I did wait until I was like, I had all the questions answered. Even if you're looking at like some mountain which cannot be, removed off, just go for it. Like, just at least try. That's one advice tip that I would give, because I wanted to do something, but I waited until I got the right answers, and that was one thing I wish I wouldn't have done. So I would say just go for it, start now. And for someone who's trying to transition into data, I would say seek help, get mentors. That's the best way, especially for someone, coming from real world. We know better and we can guide you better. So just seek help.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.